Hello everybody, it's Minecraft 5 here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make crafting recipes in Eclipse. So this is part 2 of the modding tutorial. So I'm going to go ahead and start. So you want to go down to your just normal initialization, so the middle one. And I'm going to add a couple spaces for me to type, and I'm going to go ahead and start. So we're going to go over smelting too, so smelting and crafting. So I'm just going to start out by going game registry dot add, and then we have add recipe, shaped recipe, and shapeless recipe, and then we have smelting too, which I'll go over later. So I'm gonna start out with shapeless recipe because that one's pretty easy. So I'm going to make a recipe for the dark steel, and we're gonna output. So this is what the item is going to be when you output. So what we have to do is we have to type in new item stack, and then parentheses, and in the parentheses is how many you will get, and also what the item is. So we're going to start out with item dark steel, and you're only going to get one, but let's just say that you want to get like 5 pieces when you craft it. So you do comma and then put in the number 5, and that would mean that when you craft it, it would give you 5 items, so 5 dark steel items back, but I only want 1. And now the params, this is the crafting recipe itself, so the items you want. So I'm gonna make it so you just take an iron ingot and a piece of coal and put them together and makes dark steel. So we're going to do new item, item stack, parentheses again. So we're going to be using item stack a lot. And in here, this is the item that you want. So I'm going to put items dot, and here's all the items in the game. I'm going to just put item coal. It should be towards the top. There we go, item coal. And if you want to use your own item, you can actually do that. Also, you need to import item stack, so that's why those errors are there. So once you do that, it's gone. So you can also put blocks in by putting blocks dot, and then it'll put all the block names. And if you want to put your own item, you just put item, and then, well, not even item, you just put whatever you put it up there. So mine's item dark steel, so I could put that there. Anyway, so that's just one item. So if we put coal in right now, it'll give us dark steel, but I want an iron ingot, so I'm going to do comma after that and do new item stack, and now we're adding a second item. So in here we're going to just do items dot iron, let's look for ingot somewhere. Oh, there it is. So iron ingot. So that is a crafting recipe, so a shapeless crafting recipe. So that means shapeless means you can just put it anywhere in the crafting table and it'll craft it. And then a shaped one, or just the game registry add recipe, is a shaped one like a piston. So we're gonna go ahead and test this. So I'll get a crafting table, and let's get a piece of iron and coal. So now if we put them together, it gives us 1 dark steel ingot. So the crafting recipe works. Pretty simple. So now let's go over a shaped one. So I want it so if you fill the whole crafting table, it will give you the dark steel block. So we're going to go down here, game registry dot add, and I'm just going to put add recipe. I'm not quite sure what add shaped recipe does. It might just be the same as add recipe, or it could mean a shaped one that you can put anywhere, like a mix in between, but I'm just going to put add recipe. And in here, you need to put new item stack, and then we're just going to put the output here. So item, or block actually, block dark steel. And again, you can put comma and then whatever you want, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm just gonna put, you actually have to put a comma though. So what I'm saying though is if you want like 5 blocks, you could put comma space 5. But now we have to put a comma after the parentheses. So we're not defining an item, we're defining the crafting recipe. So you have to do new object. So not shapeless recipe, and you have to put square brackets, and then after the square brackets you have to put a squiggly bracket or a curly bracket, and in there you put quotations, and after those put a comma, quotations, and after those put a comma and quotations. This is where we define the crafting recipe. So if you want a space, let's just say you want steel here, space, and steel, you have to put a space. You can't just put SS. You have to put a space. So I'm just going to put SSS for all of these because I want the entire crafting table full. So this is the top row. So the first 3 S's here, the first mark of quotations is the top, the second mark is the middle, and the third is the bottom. And they're laid out just like this. So S is the top left, this S is the middle left, and this S right here is the bottom left. And you know the S's on the right are all the bottom right. So it's pretty simple. And now you have to define what S means because Eclipse doesn't know what it is. So you're going to put a comma and then single quotations, and in there just put S or whatever you use there. This doesn't have to be S, it could be S. And then put a comma after that. And then this can either be blocks from Minecraft, so blocks dot, and then you can put whatever, or items, or it could be one from the mod that you're making now. So I'm going to use dark steel ingots, so item dark steel, and there's our crafting recipe. Now if you want to add 2 items, let's just say in the middle I'm going to put sand for some reason, or not sand, let's just do bedrock. After the item steel, you'd put, or whatever item used, you'd put a comma, and then you put single quotations and put B, and then put a comma, and then you do blocks dot, and then whatever you want, or whatever you want there. It could even be from your mod, and that would put 2 items, but I don't want to do that. I just want a single one, and let me just change that. So another thing, if you want, let's just say like red wool in the middle, you can't just put blocks.red wool. The only block there is blocks.wool. So you actually need to do new item stack, and then parentheses, and then blocks.wool. Let me see, there it is. And then you'd put a comma and just put 1. I don't know what that means, but just put it there. Then comma, and this is the data value. So red wool is 14. Orange wool is 1, blue wool is 11, so that's how you define it. And same thing with like stone and stuff, but you know, again, I don't want to do that. It's just something useful to know. So there we go, there's our recipe. So we could play the game and it would come out. And now we're going to add a smelting recipe. Game registry dot add recipe. Or add smelting recipe, and the input, this is the block you want. So I'm actually gonna I don't have any other items or blocks that I want to be cooked, so I'm just gonna do one to show you. So blocks dot grass. So you put blocks, or a grass block on the top, and then this actually has to be an item stack too. New item stack. There. So both of these have to be item stacks, and then the output, this also has to be an item stack. So new item stack, and then in here put whatever you want. So I'm gonna just do blocks dot dirt. We're gonna make a random cooking here. And XP, you can put whatever you want. It has to be a float value. So 5.0 F. I'm just gonna leave it at 5.0. Save it, and we're going to go ahead and test out the smelting and the crafting recipe. So we're going to wait for the game to load, and our recipe should be there. Alright, so let's test out this one first. So if I fill this whole thing with dark steel, it gives me 1 dark steel block. And next, if we take a furnace, and we take a piece of coal, and a grass block, and we put those in, you'll see that it actually starts smelting the grass block, which you can't normally do. and it will actually give me a dirt block here, which is pretty cool. There we go. So that is how you make crafting and smelting recipes. That's episode 2, and I'll see you next time in episode